Hello and welcome to Up the Turnpike, your source for New York Islanders content, both here on YouTube and over on Patreon, where we have our podcast that we do twice a week. That's patreon.com/uptheturnpike. In this video, let's talk about Ken Holland and his fit as either president of hockey operations or president of hockey operations / general manager of these New York Islanders. Because Ken Holland's name comes up a lot and has come up a lot for a while vis-a-vis these two or singular openings, if you will, since Lou Lamoriello's contract was not renewed. So you look at it here, Arthur Staples saying that he's believed to be a no for the Islanders job, but name still up in the rankings there. And then even Chris Botta kind of saying the same thing, although reaffirming that he is one of the Islanders' preferred targets. So let's talk about Ken Holland. Is he a good fit for these New York Islanders? I'm going to come right out and say it. I don't believe he is a good fit for these New York Islanders. Now, the reason I say that is, for me, stylistically, Ken Holland screams Lou Lamoriello. Kind of in the same mold as Lou Lamoriello. Has been in the game for a long time, has made a lot of connections. A lot of people obviously like him. He's probably a good general manager depending on the situation. But his style of building teams is outdated. And it has been revealed to be outdated for a while now. And so bringing in a guy who is, let's just face it, not down with the modern game is kind of what we let go. Why would we bring in a guy who's going to do basically the same thing that Lou Lamoriello was doing beforehand? It doesn't make a whole lot of sense. Now, let me substantiate that a little bit here. The main sticking points that I have with Ken Holland in terms of building teams is specifically when I look at his draft record, and even just specifically looking at first round picks, but we can go beyond that, if you will, and we will in a second here. But when you look at his track record with first round picks, it's really not, you can tell how he likes to build a team. So he's only used 65% of the first rounders he's had in 20 years as general manager of the Detroit Red Wings, which is, I get it. They've been good for a while and we're in the playoffs for a long time, so I understand. But it tells me exactly what he tries to do. He takes these first round picks and trades them to bring in talent. And for a while, that was working for him. Before the cap era, he brought in Chris Chelios, Dominic Hasek, Matthew Schneider, Robert Lang, all worthwhile picks to trade, or all worthwhile players to trade a first round pick for. I get it. And they all worked. Obviously, Chelios, Hall of Famer. Hasek, Hall of Famer. Schneider, great player. Robert Lang, also great player. Those good things to do. But post-cap era, he has not had the same success in trading his first-round picks when he has done it. But he's also traded first-round picks outside of just trying to bring in NHL-ready talent. He's tried to, I don't know, how do I want to say it? Manage his assets, if you will. In certain drafts, he has traded back outside of the first round to acquire more draft capital and has whiffed every single time. So not only is he sometimes trading it to get NHL-ready talent, but he's trading outside of the first round pick and not outside of the first round and not getting anything of value for it. The thing that sticks with me the most is that trading first rounders to bring in NHL-ready talent. That's something that screams Lou Lamoriello and something that Lou Lamoriello did a lot, taking away first-round picks out of the system, which I get. To a certain degree, I get it. It makes sense to do when you're chasing cups, I suppose. But the Islanders aren't in a position where they're a contender, and they have a lot of work to do to rebuild not only the current playing staff, but the organization as a whole. That means Bridgeport. That means just the prospect pool. That means, of course, other hockey staff outside of like just coaches and managers. It's scouting staff, it's development staff, it's so on and so forth, analytics staff. All of that needs to be completely redeveloped. But just looking at the playing staff itself and the prospect pool itself, we can no longer just keep trading away first round picks to hope to get into the playoffs. We just can't keep doing that. Now, I'm not saying he's going to go and trade our first overall pick. I doubt he would ever do that. That just doesn't sound like something any general manager would do to get NHL-ready talent, I should say. But when it comes to some of the later picks, like we have 2 first-round picks in 2026, is he going to trade those so we can get NHL-ready talent? maybe. But what that does is it might open the current window a little bit more, but it shrinks your window going forward. And that's kind of the problem with the New York Islanders, is that the current window is either very much closed or barely opening or barely open. And so by trading a first round pick to bring in NHL ready talent now might open the window a little bit, but it's not opening it much wider for a much longer time, which is kind of where we are right now. We need to open that window not only today, but going forward for an extended period of time. And trading first round picks is not going to do that. So to me, that's why one of the main reasons why I want to stay away from Ken Holland. He's also got this interesting quote that really resonates with me vis-a-vis his stylistic approach and how it resembles Lou Lamoriello. If you put young players in the league too quickly, it's more likely that they're going to fail than succeed. Youch. That is a Lou Lamoriello quote if I've ever heard one. Straight out of Lou's mouth, almost verbatim. And I get it to a certain extent that there's truth to that. I understand that there's truth to that to a certain extent. But when you're not drafting those talents, how could you ever say that? You're never drafting that type of talent where you could either think about bringing it in too quickly. It screams regressive. It screams conservative. It screams, I need to bring in already made talent. I'm not going to even bother drafting and developing it, which is the way you build not only a current successful franchise, but a successful franchise for years to come. And something the Islanders very much need to do. And look, his track record outside of the first round isn't great either. When you look back at his time with Detroit, if I flip my screen here, sorry if it's not like as wide as the screen. It's just when I make it full screen, there's a dumb ad that pops up in the top corner here that hides the year and the name, which is the entire point of what we're looking at here. But Ken Holland was with the Detroit Red Wings up until 2018-19. He was not there for the 2019 draft where they took some guy by the name of Moritz Seider, Calder Trophy winner, by the way, if you don't know that. But before that, like, look at his draft picks and look at how many made an impact, we're going to say, at the NHL level. Zadina Veleno, lots of games played, not a whole lot of points, specifically with being first-round talents. In 2018, remember, it's the Noah Dobson draft. So at this point, we know what they are, and it's borderline NHL players, if at all. Michael Rasmussen, sure, NHL talent. Gustav Lindstrom, probably not, but that's it. You have Philip Hronik in 2016. That's a good pickup by them. They traded him away, of course, but when he was gone. Chalowski, Giovanni Smith, not so much. And just look at how it's not really full. Svechnikov in the first round. Oh my God. Again, the other Svechnikov. Just the successes are not piling up. Dylan Larkin, absolutely. Great pickup by them. But they're not adding to that. Sure, 2013, you have Mantha. Tyler Bertuzzi, not a bad pick there. Matthias Janmark Nyland, again, not a bad pickup necessarily. But you're seeing recently, since 2014, those picks are not adding up. They're just not. His draft record is just not good recently, which kind of then goes back to like, well, who are you to say that if you bring them up too quickly, they might fail? I mean, you're not really drafting guys or developing them to begin with. So your process of just keeping them there also isn't working, bud. It's not something the New York Islanders should be striving to be bringing in. And of course, I know I've hyper-focused on his time with Detroit. I'm just looking at a 20-year sample size that we can look at. And it transitioned from a previous way the game used to be played, which is the pre-cap era, to the current way it is being played in the current cap era. And going from one to the other, the successes have dried up quickly. It is a complete drought in terms of success for Ken Holland as general manager in the cap era. So for me, it just seems if we hire Ken Holland as either president of hockey operations or general manager, we're just getting Lou Lamoriello 2.0. He's going to build this team in the same way. I need to bring in NHL-ready talent, and I will sacrifice the future to do so. While that is a viable solution sometimes, at the frequency he does it, and Lou did it, we can't go down that road again. So to me, you cannot hire Ken Holland as general manager or president of hockey operations for the New York Islanders. Another team, maybe. In a different situation, sure. But the situation the New York Islanders are in does not call for someone like Ken Holland. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Hit the like button and subscribe if you haven't yet. And if you have liked and subscribed to these videos, thank you, thank you, thank you.